arm. This is the walkway that the crew uses to get inside and outside of Discovery. And if the need arose, we could move it back into position within a few seconds.
ELT, perform APU pre-start.
And that's in work.
Final test of the flight control surfaces being done with a pre-programmed pattern of movements designed to verify the engines and other flight surfaces are ready. It includes moving the three-man engines, and that's how Discovery steers its way in orbit. Top of the external fuel tank, known as the beanie cap, being removed at this time.
ELT, cluster warning memory clear is complete with no unexpected errors.
Copy. Discovery, close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow.
Discovery and work.
TLX is go for ET LH2 pressurization.
Coming up on go for auto sequence start. The computers on board Discovery control the spacecraft.
TLX is go for auto sequence start.
25.
T-minus 25 seconds and counting.
20.
T-minus 15 seconds and counting.
10.
10 seconds. We have go for main engine start. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Shuttle Discovery. Combate Kudasai. Best of luck to the International Space Station's newest laboratory.
Houston and Discovery, roll program.
Roger, roll, Discovery. Houston now controlling the flight of Discovery, a man-made rising sun on behalf of Japan. Discovery on the proper alignment, heads down, wings level for the 8.5-minute ride to orbit. 4.5 million pounds of hardware and humans taking aim on the International Space Station. 36 seconds into the flight, the three liquid fuel main engines now throttling back to 72% of rated performance, going in the bucket, reducing the stress on the shuttle as it goes supersonic. Discovery already 5 miles in altitude, 8.5 miles downrange, traveling almost 1,000 miles an hour.
Discovery Houston, go with throttle up.
Roger, go throttle up.
Throttle up call acknowledged by Commander Mark Kelly, joined on the flight deck by pilot Ken Ham, flight engineer Ron Guerin, and mission specialist Karen Nyberg. Down on the middeck are Mike Fossum, Aki Hoshide, and Greg Shamatov, heading for a half year on the International Space Station. One minute, 45 seconds into the flight. Discovery 22 miles in altitude, 23 miles downrange, standing by for solid rocket booster separation.
Copy staging.
Booster officer confirms staging, a good solid rocket booster separation. Guidance now converging. The onboard computer steering the shuttle for the on-ramp to the highway for the International Space Station. Discovery 37 miles in altitude, 50 miles downrange, traveling 3,200 miles an hour. The orbital maneuvering system engines have ignited, providing Discovery with a burst of power for the next 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
Roger, two-engine Maroon.
That call call from Mark Kelly, the first of a series of performance calls in the event of the loss of a main engine. However, all three main engines continue to perform normally, along with the auxiliary power units and the three power-producing fuel cells. Discovery flying on the singular power of its three liquid fuel main engines, draining a half a ton of fuel per second from the large fuel tank. Discovery 52 miles in altitude, 100 miles downrange, 3.5 minutes into the flight. We're coming up on the point of negative return, where the shuttle would be too far downrange, too high in altitude to return to the launch site in the event of an engine failure. All three main engines continue to function normally, however. 3 minutes, 47 seconds into the flight. Discovery flying straight and true, speeding toward a date with the International Space Station on Monday.
Discovery Houston, negative return.
Roger, negative return.
All of Discovery's systems in great shape. 4 minutes, 15 seconds into the flight. Discovery 62 miles in altitude, picking up speed, 170 miles downrange, traveling 5,300 miles an hour. The Environmental Systems Officer reports the activation of the flash evaporator system, providing cooling for Discovery's avionics and other systems until the time that the payload bay doors are open an hour and a half into the flight. 4 minutes, 40 seconds into the mission. All the main engines right down the money, in good shape, good performance, good auxiliary power units, good fuel cells. Discovery traveling 6,000 miles an hour, 66 miles in altitude, 230 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Five minutes into the flight, 3.5 minutes of powered flight remaining. Very quiet here in the flight control room.
Discovery Houston, press to ATO, select Istris.
Roger, press the ATO, will select Istris.
That call acknowledged by Commander Mark Kelly, indicating that in the event of a loss of a main engine, we could still make our abort-to-orbit targets. However, all three main engines continue to function normally. The orbiter will